Um, yeah, so busier than ever, really. Apart from I'm not gigging, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in with me 9 to 5. That's still all going as normal.
What do you
Radio.
do?
So my 9 to 5, I work for a company that converts shipping containers into cafes and restaurants and bars and all that side of
Oh,
things.
nice, nice. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I do all like the architectural drawings and plans and
Ah,
for project management for that side of things. That's my pays
that's
my
pretty.
job, so I can.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is to be fair. I do enjoy it, but
I'm gonna grab a drink of water quick.
no, don't blame.
Nice, nice, nice.
But no, it's, that's my 9 to 5, and I've got a radio show on the side, and then obviously work was part of Stone Dead team where I saw you guys. Well,
Yeah,
I saw you guys to speak to anyway.
yeah,
But all the Stone Dead guys knew we were having a chat because I was chatting to a couple of them the other night, and they said to say hello to you. So
yeah. Oh,
yeah,
cool.
the Stone Dead
No,
team.
it was one of those festivals where, like, obviously, especially that year, we did a lot of festivals, but that was one of the most memorable ones. And I just remember, yeah, all the staff were lovely, and they were so nice to us, especially treated us really well. And it was a nice day, which helped.
It
Nice
was
weather,
boiling, absolutely boiling.
and we had a great show. So yeah, it was a good time.
No, I
But,
was glad I was because me and the mates flew out to Hamburg to see you guys
oh
in
wow,
December. And I'm glad we did, to be honest, because I was sort of coordinating things backstage on the day at Stone Dead, so I could hear you guys and you sounded amazing, but I wanted to be, around the
yeah,
front. But
yeah.
it,
Unfortunately, that's the way it is sometimes, isn't
it
it?
is when you work at a mate. I have between that and the Just Push Play Festival, which is mine. I always get people saying, "Oh, you must be great. You must just watch bands all day." And I'm like, "No, it
Yeah, it doesn't work like that, does it?
doesn't work like that as much as we wish it would." But no.
Yeah, cool.
So how you been keeping during lockdown anyway?
Yeah, well, right. I presume you know about the podcast, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
you've spoken about the podcast, yeah. Oh, bloody hell! I'm trying to get all my technical stuff working properly. That's not working now, is it?
No, I can hear you fine.
No, it's my headphones.
Oh, your headphones.
I bought like this little USB interface thing, which is it's a good one, but it's got a big headphone jack on it. So I'm using an adapter,
Oh yeah,
with my little headphones, but it's something wrong.
it's not linking up all the time, is it not?
Yeah, and I have to have the adapter halfway out for it to work, which is stupid.
I had a set like that, but I was using it for my bass amp, so I could have my headphones in, so
Yeah,
into my bass amp, and I had to have it halfway out for some reason.
yeah, and I tested it with because my brother's got like a decent studio, so let me a pair of his proper studio headphones with a built-in big jack, and that could go all the way in, and it was fine. But like, I don't really want to spend a load of money on headphones
No.
just for that. But yeah, so if I sometimes I knock it slightly and then it comes
Just
up.
get
But yeah, I've been super busy because it was around April last year. I think I did my first interview for the podcast with Nigel from Saxon.
That was an amazing episode, man. I'm a huge Saxon fan, so
Oh, cool. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
where I picked up on it. So I'll be honest, I was sick of listening to, depending on what I'm doing in the gym,
Yeah.
music's fine, or I can listen to stuff that doesn't help me out at all. Sometimes I just like a podcast I want to the gym.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to a few different things. I was looking for other ones. And I was actually listening to Thunderbolt, Saxon album in the gym. And then it came up underneath Nigel Glocker, podcast thing. I was like, oh, cool. And then I clicked on that. And then I realized it was yourself who was doing it. And that's how I started listening to it.
Oh, wow. So it came up as like a suggested listen. Oh, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
it came up underneath because I'd set up my gym playlist, which has a lot of heavier stuff on it because that helps me power through the gym.
Yeah, it's great music for
so there's a lot of Saxon on there, a lot of Motorhead, a lot of you guys, Phil Campbell and Sons, Five Finger Death Punch, that sort of thing. Anything heavy with a good rolling beat to it. I've figured out quite quickly, as much as I don't mind some easier listening stuff that doesn't work for me in the gym because I don't put any effort in. So
no,
but no, I have my playlist going on for that, and then it came up underneath for that there afterwards to try them, but obviously had linked the two.
Because I didn't really realize. I know that's eventually what's going to happen. Like that is eventually what should happen with the algorithms and all that. But I didn't really realize that mine had kind of made it to that point yet. Because I still think I've got a very small listener base, and it's been really, really slow, gradual growth. Obviously, I'm really grateful for what I've got, but it's not as if no matter what I do, plugging it on the socials, you know, like old man retweets everything I bloody tweet about. It doesn't really kind of turn into views. Like I actually reposted a little clip from the Saxon episode the other day on my Facebook, and Saxon like shared it.
Yeah.
And like according to my Facebook, it said is at a reach of like 12,000. Which you think, oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
and I've looked and I've had like an extra 20 views on YouTube. So like, and like to get a view on YouTube, someone only needs to watch it for like 30 seconds. So I don't know if that's 20 full views, but it's crazy. You think you do all these things and get people to share it. It doesn't really mean people are gonna pick it up and check it out. But yeah, I'm hopeful I can continue to grow it and got some cool stuff lined up for this year. Because I've had a little break over Christmas. Because the other thing I was going to mention is I started like a part-time job last April.
All right, yeah.
Because obviously we weren't gigging, and I thought, well, you know, we were kind of hopeful at the time that maybe the summer or the autumn would kind of pick up. Luckily, I was, I guess, able to claim some of the kind of self-employed government money and stuff, which was nice, but it wasn't like. And we didn't know how long that was going to last for. So it was like, cool. And then a friend of mine that owns a business contacted me and said, "Oh, would you be up for any part-time work?" And it was really local to me, and I was like, "Well, probably makes sense to really do this because it's so it's so uncertain." So I've been doing that ever since. A few days a week, so it's not a full-time position, which is great because it allows me the time to do the podcast stuff. But I'm with that and the podcast and. You know, a little bit of exercise when I can be bothered. I'm pretty flat out. And obviously we did the album last year.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, I've been really busy.
I was going to say, I know lockdown's affected obviously musicians in a great way with the touring side of things, but the guys seem to have been really busy anyway. Obviously, like you say, you released With the Bastards like in November, and obviously you were working on that prior to that. Obviously, I know Todd produced the album, but how did that work with recording it? Because I'm guessing because of lockdown, I'm taking it you weren't all in the studio in a room playing it live, as it were.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we definitely didn't play anything live. It was just before the lockdown started that we had pretty much written it all together in a room. I think out of the 13 songs, I think we'd had 10 or 11 songs kind of written as a band without the vocals, though. That was, we did a lot of sessions without Neil present, just the way we do things sometimes. And then we kind of present him a song and then he kind of just writes lyrics over the top. That's what we did on this album in its entirety. So we recorded all the music without even knowing what any of the vocals or any of the lyrics or any of the songs were going to be about, which is a bit of a weird way to do it. But considering the circumstances, it was the only way that kind of worked. And there was never more than two of us in the studio at one time during the recording process. So it was me and Todd to begin with. I was doing the drums. And then I think Tyler came in, the week after. I think he did it all in a day or two, actually, on all his bass parts. Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's amazing.
And then, then obviously my dad did a few days. I don't know how long he took, but I wasn't there for any of it. So it was a bit weird because I couldn't be present and I couldn't give my ideas. And
did you not hear the songs complete as they were then until they sort of had been finished?
Yeah, I think there was a version knocking about without vocals and without a few guitar solos at one point, and then I was like, cool. Again, didn't know what any of the vocals were going to be, but yeah, it was strange because I guess likewise for the other guys, when I did my drums, they didn't have any input on that.
Yeah,
I didn't have any input on their bass parts, guitar parts, but they all know what they're doing, and
of course.
As we're a family, we tend to have quite similar ideas, I guess.
Yeah, you know where you guys are sitting as well, I guess, with that.
And we had jammed them live, which helped. So we pretty much knew what we were doing. There was a few bits here and there, and there was a few nice guitar parts added that I hadn't heard previously, which I were probably written at the studio, and some great solos. And
I mean, I think it's fair to say that album, the last album, certainly sounds like a more expanded version of you guys somewhat. I mean, I wouldn't say you've lost your heaviness or anything, but you know, the Age of Absurdity was sort of very riff dominating, very riff heavy, and this one seems to be a little more light in shade, which isn't not a bad thing by any means.
Yeah, I
It
guess
certainly seems like you guys have sort of expanded the sound from what people may have assumed it was compared to, you know, Age of Absurdity.
Yeah, possibly. I think it is slightly more diverse, but we have tried to keep, you know, some of the heavier songs.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't say you've lost your heaviness by any means. It still sounds like, you know, Sun's albums, that's for sure. But
yeah, that's cool to know. And there's a few up tempo tracks on there. I guess there's a few slightly more adventurous ones, like one of the singles, "Born to Roam," which is it was my favorite song once I heard the final album.
Okay, yeah.
And it was before we decided to release it as a single. And I think I was the first one that said, I think this should be one of the singles, guys.
It's a great song.
It is tricky. Thank you. It's tricky with us because, yeah, we've got that kind of, I guess we've got a percentage of like ex-Motorhead fans.
Yeah, of course.
Luckily, you know, they still like what we do. But
Motorhead went and did different songs, stuff like Whorehouse Blues.
Exactly, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so I think, you know, there's a lot of them that have been nice and open-minded and have accepted and enjoyed what we've done. You know, we do see a lot of criticism online and comments on like YouTube.
You're never ever going to get away with that though. No matter who you are, you're always going to get someone that doesn't like it. That's just the nature of the beast, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the bigger you get, the more you're going to see of that. So I've kind of accepted that. I don't really take it to heart. But yeah, we just wanted to make a nice balanced album. Rock, you know, this is a rock album. Like we don't class ourselves as heavy metal or anything. Sometimes we get put in that kind of genre, but we're not really metal. Yeah, there's elements of metal, and we've got metal influences to some degree, but we just call ourselves like a rock and roll band, really. I guess like Motorhead did, and yeah, I guess we've obviously grown up listening to very similar stuff. Apart from Neil has a radically different musical taste.
Oh, does he?
Well, in a way, as in because he's not related to us or anything, and he's a little bit older than me. He's a little bit older than Todd. He doesn't look it, but he kind of grew up listening to grunge.
Okay, yeah.
Which I love grunge. I kind of did that big grunge period, and I grew up in the 90s and stuff, but he didn't do any of that classic rock stuff. I don't think he's ever really had a classic rock phase of his listening, of his music listening. So it's kind of weird for him because he's been put in this band and we get dubbed as like I guess classic rock band or rock and roll band, whatever. And it is kind of weird for him, I suppose, but he's just doing his own thing. And I think that's why a lot of people say like he's quite unique, because I guess he's not being influenced by Ozzy, and he hasn't been influenced by Zeppelin and Aerosmith and all the bands most people have been kind of influenced by down the years. And I guess his songwriting comes off in that way as well. And he kind of, I think if you asked him, his favorite bands would be Pearl Jam, Nirvana, and Soundgarden, which are all cool bands. I really like them all as well. I don't think it comes into the music side of things that much. Possibly Soundgarden to some degree, maybe with some of the riffs, because they were a bit more riffy.
Oh, definitely.
But like my drumming, I've probably been really influenced by Dave Grohl more than like metal drummers, because that is one of the things that when I started playing drums in bands, I was playing Nirvana covers. So.
But you guys have always had that swing. Yeah, the riffs are heavy, but you've always had that swing to it, that groove to it.
Yeah, I think so.
Standard metal, which is very machine-esque on the rhythm, I guess, of the aspect of it, rather than swing and a bit more groove.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we need to make sure we do keep is like I'll say now, I don't mind saying that I'm personally not into that kind of robotic metal sound where it sounds like it's being produced by machines and it doesn't sound like a human playing drums, and I'm not really into that. And I guess I've never really been into like metal drumming. I've never really tried. There's a few tracks, I guess, there's double kick and stuff, but that's about my limit. It's like like I can do that. I can't do any of the really technical stuff. And it is amazing when I see people who can do that, and they must have spent a long time learning. And
oh yeah,
maybe I will one day, but I've just, because I've never really been into that kind of style of like extreme metal and stuff. I've never really needed to kind of learn it because I've never been playing it in bands. So yeah, I like to think that me and the other guys in the band can produce like a groove, and like, yeah, like you said, like a swing. That's good that you feel that.
oh definitely, mate. Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I've been playing bass since I was 13, so it's always a rhythm section that kicks up to me on a thing. And between yourselves and Tyler, you've got a great foundation there with the rhythm section of the band. Like you say, you've got that groove, and that's what, to me, you can put a great riff over the top of it, and a good riff, guitar riff, and a great singer is all fantastic. But if the foundation ain't there, then you can completely. When I was at university, there was a thing they held on at the was it the Waterfront in Norwich you played, or was it the UEA? I can't remember.
I think we've done them both at some point.
Yeah,
we've definitely done them both.
So I remember the last time I saw you was at the Waterfront.
Yeah,
but that's where I was studying. But at the UEA itself, where they have bands on, they used to hold random events and stuff in there as well. And they did a drum academy thing.
Oh wow!
And my mate was a drummer. I'm a bass player, but just love music. And he said, "Oh, I'm going to this." And the two drummers they had on was Chad Smith of the Chili Peppers.
Nice.
And oh man, guy drummed for Paul Weller, Steve White.
Oh yeah.
And they had them two on, and I was like, great. And we all went, like, friends of ours, we're all in bands. So whether we were guitarists, bass players, drummers, or whatever, we were just interested and just wanted to go down that. And Steve White came out first, and he did his thing, and he just showed how different a song can sound by just changing not necessarily the drum part that he was playing, but how he hit the skin and the accent he was using on the drums. And I'll never forget how he played this one song, and it was, I think, can't remember what song he used. He had some backing track playing. He was just playing drums to it. And he goes, now listen again. And he changed it, and it just changed the whole feel. And I thought, yeah, I never really appreciated it up until still seeing that point.
Yeah, that's definitely a big thing. And yeah, Chad's incredible. And there's so many people. He is highly rated, but I think a lot of people take his drumming for granted. Yeah, he's a hard hitter, but it's the groove that he produces.
So much groove and soul in his playing, though. Chad.
Yeah, simple beats to some degree, but that's the thing with like written drum music. Like I'm not really a massive, I'm not into written music or written drum music. I can read it to some degree. I couldn't sight read it, I suppose, but I know what it all means. But like that's what you can't portray very well.
No,
written drum music is the actual groove of it. Like the beat you probably mentioned that he played would be written in the same way.
Yeah, probably.
But he's playing it two different ways. So how would you teach that? It's just
all about feel, isn't it? It's about emotion.
Yeah.
About, like we were saying, that swing and that groove, and you've got, and that affects you. Like, and it's like if you've listened to one song and it's just got the sort of more extreme metal drumming that was there, you could still play that rhythm, but with a swing and a groove and a bounce to it, and it would sound completely different.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And what is hard as well, especially with like all these modern ways of producing drums, which is one thing we kind of tried to stay a little bit old school on this album. It still sounds like a modern rock album, but it is hard to kind of portray that feeling. And I always struggle with that because I can play something in the studio with the ghost notes and all these things, but by the time the song is mixed and record and finished, like I can't really hear what I played sometimes, especially like I do a lot of ghost notes on the snare live. So anyone who comes to see me live, I don't even know if they come through the PA, whether they get picked up, but I feel I'm playing them because it helps me groove and it helps me play the other parts of the kit. And but it sometimes gets lost on a recording once everything's put on top. And sometimes I don't think my brother did it a lot on this album or at all. I don't really know. You'd have to ask him. But sometimes a lot of modern producers will use like drum replacements. So they'll record your snare drum, for example.
Yeah.
But for consistency, they'll put a sample of another snare drum over the top of it or to replace it.
Yeah.
To get a more consistent sound. And I know a lot of metal producers are guilty of that, but that's kind of how they achieve that sound, which is part of the kind of metal sound.
That makes sense.
And that's what I don't really like, but some producers kind of do it that way, no matter what kind of style of the band. But yeah, but that for me destroys the kind of human soul element of what I played.
Yeah,
because I didn't hit that drum.
No.
So the drum I recorded is not there anymore because you've replaced it with something else, or you've put something over the top, and mine's so low in the mix you can't really hear it anymore. And that's one thing. Like I've kind of come to accept it, and that's how modern rock and metal production is. But yeah, that's why when I play live, I guess you can't really do that in a live setting, and hopefully you can feel the more like the swing and the groove comes from that way of playing. Whereas in a recording situation, if that's been done to my drum parts, it kind of loses a little bit of the soul. But I think we found a middle ground on this album. I think it sounds nice and modern enough to get the power and the punch. But I think we've managed to keep some of the human elements. I think so anyway. So yeah, it sounds great. It sounds great.
No, the album sounds fantastic, man. Like I was warned not to buy it before Christmas because of the Christmas reasons.
Oh right, yeah.
Like my birthday is 8th of November, so I thought, great, album's out 13th. So I'll just take someone's bound to give me some birthday money. Bang, go get the album, sort it out. And then I immediately got from my wife, from my family, you can't go buy that. Why? Because Christmas is going. I just want to hear it. And I'm old school. I'll listen to Spotify or whatever when I'm in the gym or something like that. But as a rule, if it's a band I love and a band I'm a fan of, I want the album. I want to get home. I want to just sit, blast the album out, and just soak it up. That's all I ever want.
Nice. That's the best way, man. And
oh yeah,
I haven't done that in a long time, to be honest. Like I love music, but I guess it's become a background thing for me to enjoy, which is a shame. Like, yeah, when I go running, I haven't been to the gym in a long time, but if I kind of go, I do like home workouts and stuff now. And I go running a lot, and I have to have music on when I run. When I'm driving, sometimes when I'm working, when I'm cooking, it's a background thing. But like, yeah, I don't feel like that connection that I used to have with albums. I used to sit and read the booklet while I was listening to it, read the lyrics, and
I'm the same.
And I wish it's my own fault for not doing that. That's perfectly possible for me to still do that, but I guess I just find it hard to find time to do it. I'll always choose something else over it, or like I said in the start, I'm pretty busy at the moment, so
yeah, of course.
Spend an hour, tell my wife, don't interrupt me. I'm going to listen to this album and read the booklet for an hour. She'd be like, "What? What do you mean? Go make dinner."
My wife would be the same, but fortunately, she likes the same sort of music. So normally, we've not heard an album before one or the other. So normally, and we don't have children at the moment, so it's like we haven't got kids running around. We've just got
same here. I got a cat and no kids. Yeah.
So normally it's a case of, especially during lockdown when we've sort of been enforced to stay in the house, it's been quite nice to rediscover some albums, soak up some new ones, and
awesome.
But going back to the feel. Last time I saw you guys, like I said, I was out in Hamburg. Me and some friends went over there for a mate of mine's birthday, and you could certainly feel the drums in that room, mate. I was talking to Tyler about going to the I forgot the name of the venue you guys played.
I'm trying to think which one Hamburg was. A lot of them blur.
I'm trying to think the name of the venue now.
Was that the one where there's quite a wide stage, and the wide stage where the room is wide as well, but not very deep?
Yeah, it's not a very deep room. It's quite a wide room when we came in. I'm just looking up now to try and find the name of the venue, because I remember you guys were playing Logo
or something.
Yeah, Logo.
Yeah.
Just been looking up.
Yeah, that is the one actually. We've played there twice. Yeah, it's one of them. Yeah, it's a great vibe because you're really close to the crowd.
Yeah.
And I remember it's really sweaty. It was a good show. That it was good.
I remember chatting to Tyler. You guys.
The problem with that. Yeah, go on.
So I remember chatting to Tyler when you guys were playing the Stone Dead, and sort of saying, "Oh, me and the lads are coming over to Hamburg to see you guys playing." He goes, "Oh, you come to the show at Logo?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "What are you flying out of Hamburg for?" And I was like, "Oh, it was mate's birthday. We just decided to make a weekend of it, so we're going to come out." And he's, "Oh, wicked." So we were chatting anyway. He said, "Oh, get there early, because last time we played there, it was half full, and we couldn't see how they could get any more people in the place. And now, at that point, we knew it had sold out. And so I mentioned this to the guys when we got over there. So, look, I spoke to Tyler Stone Dead, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, now. And as you do, but there was a bar around the corner. We went and had a few beers before we went in. And the doors open. We're like, oh, yeah, we'll be all right. It was just like that all the way in, trying to get further and further down the front. Rammed. And you could just feel like the bass and the drum hanging off the walls. It's on a proper sweatbox gig.
Nice. Yeah, it's cool. I can imagine being in the crowd, apart from it being cramped, you get a connection with the band really well. The only thing from like a band's point of view is that the backstage situation isn't brilliant. It's just a tiny room to the side.
Oh, right.
And then there's a fire exit that goes out to the buses, but that's where like a lot of the, I guess, fans are, which I'm cool with fans.
Yeah.
But like sometimes we like my old man to have a bit of privacy, or at least the option of privacy sometimes. And otherwise he does get hassled quite a lot. And he's happy to sign stuff and that when the time's right and all that. But
but at the same time, when you're at privacy in your space, don't you?
Yeah, and there's no toilet backstage, which is a big thing.
Oh, is it not?
No toilet backstage. So if we want to use the toilet, we have to go through the crowd to the back.
Yeah.
And there's like a staff toilet, which is next to like the toilet that the punters use.
Yeah.
But it's just really difficult to get to. And likewise, then at the end of the night for the showers, you have to go to that room, which is you have to go through the crowd to get to the room. And it's a weird situation because you've got the venue are pressurizing you to kind of hurry up and get out, but then they don't let the punters out.
No.
So you kind of like, it's just one of those awkward situations. There's like 10 of us that need a shower after, including the crew. And it's just really difficult. Yeah. And like, I need a shower, and it's just a bit awkward really. And you've got to walk through the crowd then with your clothes and stuff. And it's just like, you want to stop and chat, but you can't because you've got this pressure to hurry up and shower so the next guy can shower after you. And it's just like, it's a great venue, but not to play because it's not very user friendly.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, but we've always had great sellout shows there, so we'll probably end up there again.
I must admit, the toilets were bad enough to get to as a punter, let alone I didn't realise there wasn't any sort of gear backstage.
Yeah.
So nothing.
No,
it was a pain in the like I say, you're gig and you've got to say it was a lads' weekend in Hamburg, so there was a lot of beer that was consumed before we went in and enjoying ourselves. And suddenly you get like, all of a sudden you're going, oh God, now I need to go to the toilet, and you're looking back and going, I've got to go all the way over there. And like I say, you sort of ran through everyone. That was bad enough as a punter. So yeah, I can imagine it was a right pain for you guys having to go through the crowd. And I'm walking through the crowd and it was bad enough, but no one else wants to talk to me. So must have been a bit of a nightmare.
It's hard. Yeah, but we'll see. Yeah, but they're always good, the German shows, and I kind of miss going out there and playing. Like the UK shows are great, but I don't know. I think we sell a few more tickets in Germany, and they're just a little bit crazier, which is always good fun.
Yeah, they certainly are. We ended up in this tiny little, it was like this basement rock bar someone told us about, like the other side of the city, and nearer to where our hotel was. And we got told, well, you've got to go here. It's on like where all the red light districts and stuff is. And they're like, you've got to go to this rock bar. I'm like, okay. So we went and found it. It was great. It was a tiny little place. And we went there after the show. We said, oh, we'll go back there and go have a couple of drinks because we've been there before drinking. And we walk in and there's only room sort of like 2 tables in this place. It's a really tiny little bar. We've all got, we've been to your gig, so we've got Phil Campbell t-shirts on and stuff. And the German guys came in and they see the t-shirts, and they had obviously been there as well.
Yeah.
And they started talking quite naturally in German to us. And we're all sort of going, oh, sorry, mate. Don't, we knew sort of hello and thank you and managed to order a beer, and that was about it.
Yeah.
And they sort of go, oh, have you just come over for the show? And their English was far better. They're really nice people.
They can speak English better than me normally.
Yeah, exactly. And next thing we know, have you come over for this gig? And yeah, we come up to see Phil Campbell and Sons. And oh, brilliant. Next time, 2 bottles of schnapps get put on our table. And these German lads are like, you're drinking with us.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Nice.
But they could drink a lot more than us. And we also forgot that the bars in Germany close at 6 a.m. and not like midnight.
Oh God, yeah.
So that was fun. But no, that was a good weekend out there. But
Yeah.
what are the plans for the rest of the year for the Suns then? Have you got anything? I know you had to reschedule shows because we were due to come and see you in Belfast at the end of last
cool.
But obviously,
yes.
With everything going on, that got moved like a lot of things. But
yeah, well, everything, I think, apart from 2 or 3 festivals, everything did get moved. But we don't even know if they're going to go ahead, I guess, because there's all this doubt.
Yeah, at the minute, isn't it?
So we don't really know. Like I'm hoping so. But in terms of, well, we just released an album, so we're not going to be doing anything like that. Yeah, but we're just hoping really that the shows do go ahead, or at least some of them. Like even if the summer festivals don't happen, it'd be great if if at the very least the UK tour can happen in November. But I don't know. I think everyone in the industry is kind of being fairly safe at the moment and being quite realistic. And the problem is with like rescheduling shows, you need to do it in advance.
Yeah, of course.
It's not a kind of thing you can just kind of do last minute and hope that the venues are available.
No.
But yeah, but it's not looking good at the moment with the kind of COVID numbers kind of being sky high again. And I think it'll be a while really until the vaccine kind of helps the numbers.
Yeah, I think it will
kind of reduce. Especially people like my age and your age. I don't think we're going to be seeing it for a long time.
No.
Apart from people who obviously work within NHS and caring and stuff. And like I know a few people who have had it, but it's because they're nurses or social workers and stuff like that. So but yeah, I don't think I ain't going to be getting it anytime soon. A healthy 34-year-old, no chance.
No.
But so just hoping for the best. And like we've talked about, is there anything we can do? But it'd be silly, really. Well, I guess we could, when it's safe to do so, maybe get back in the studio and write a few things.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, there's no rush to do another album because we haven't toured this one yet. And
no, of course.
We'd definitely like to tour it because I'm really proud of it. And
well, yeah, this is it. When you've got an album as solid as it is, you don't want to just go, right, well, we released that and now we'll move on to the next thing. You want to
just skip it and make a new. I know, because I'm looking forward to playing some of those songs live. But yeah, I guess from a personal point of view, I'm hoping to kind of grow the podcast as much as possible.
So have you got any episodes lined up then? Obviously, you're taking a bit of a break over the Christmas period and all that. Last one you did was Wyatt was the last one.
Wyatt was the last one I did. And because my part-time job, basically I did loads of overtime in December because it was really busy. And I was like, I'm not going to have any chance to do podcast stuff. So I kind of knocked it on the head.
Yeah.
And then likewise with January, I thought I would kind of prepare for some new episodes. I've just built a website by myself and I don't even know how to build websites, but I kind of worked out how to do it. So that's going to be launching soon. So by the time this goes out, I don't know when this is going out, but it should be up. It's going to be drumforthesong.com.
Nice.
So anyone can check that out. And I just thought it'd be a nice home, and official home looks a bit more pro than kind of, you can join my Facebook page or add me on Twitter, stuff like that, which is still cool because you need those things.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But like for example, when I'm contacting some of these drummers, and some of them are really hard to kind of get hold of, and I'm fortunate that I guess I've got my dad that can contact me with some guys, but even then, I've had a few guys that have agreed to do it. I've got their numbers.
Yeah.
They've replied to me a few times, and then I just don't hear from them ever again.
Oh, really?
I'm like, I can't be too pushy. No. I'm like, if I don't ask again, I'm never going to get them. So it's difficult. You've got to find that kind of line of being polite but not being annoying.
Yeah. I must admit, I've had that with the radio show. Sometimes I've been offered an interview, and it's been, definitely would love to speak to them. And then, like you say, you get the initial contact going of, oh, brilliant. So, when's good for you, and all that kind of thing. And then it sort of dries up and you think, and then, like you say, you get to the point, you're like, I really want to interview this person. I'd love to speak to them. But like you say, you don't want to come across annoying, and you don't want to come across forceful and being an arse about it. So normally it's a couple of emails, and then I'm like,
You just
balls in the sport now.
Yeah, it's like that. That's why. Because I've been on that side of it, that's why I like making it easy for people who want to interview me, like yourself. I just kind of try to make it as easy as possible. So I hope you think.
Oh no, definitely.
I mean, agree. That was easy.
This was great. I mean, it was literally like I say, I've had the album from Christmas, and it's just been constant rotation. And I was listening to it, and I just happened to see Tyler was online.
Yeah.
I'd spoken to Tyler a few times, obviously at Stone Dead and stuff, and I just messaged Tyler, just say, mate, I'm loving this album, and if any of you guys ever want to do an interview for the thing. And then he said, Dane's up for doing interviews because of the Drum for the Song podcast. And like I said, I've been listening to that. So I was like, brilliant. And then,
perfect.
A couple of days later, here we are having a chat. So all's good.
Yeah, nice and easy. And I did a little bit of press for the album, and I did a few things, but I kind of wish I'd done more. I'd been offered more, because obviously I've got that to kind of push as well. Whereas the other guys, I guess.
And you've had some cracking guests on the podcast, man. I mean, you mentioned Nigel Glockler earlier. We spoke about, obviously, you had White Wendell's on there. You had Mark Richardson. That one with Mark Richardson from Skunk Anansie, I really enjoyed that one. There was a lot I didn't know about him. I'm a big Skunk Anansie fan, but I didn't know about his, like the charity side of things that he set up and all that you mentioned. That was really good. And Matt, obviously, had Matt Sorum on there. Bob Richards, who I just adore. I think Bob's absolutely awesome. I met him, my wife's brother, so my brother-in-law, I should really say. My wife's brother, but my brother, he met him a few times. My brother-in-law was a drummer, and he played in some things and pieces, and he met Bob somewhere along the line, and then we went to go see when Rainbow reformed. We went to go see that, me and him, up in it was a Birmingham NEC, and we bumped into Bob then, and so got a very sort of quick 5-10 minute chat, and I just thought, this guy's brilliant. I just want to have a natter with him. He's a great bloke. He's just so full of life.
Yeah.
And then that was before the AC/DC thing, when he did all that.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Just before then. It might have been. I know it was just after then. Sorry.
Just after, right? Okay.
Just after, and James had said like, "Oh, I know him from such and such," and then we met him. But so because he was on the Crowcast like you guys have done as well, and watching Bob on that and listening to him on your podcast, I just think he's a kind of. After about half an hour of your podcast, I was like, right, I need to meet up with this guy again, and I want to sit in a pub with a beer and just have a chat with him.
Yeah, I'd never really done that. I met him. I did one gig with him, I think, with Buck and Evans a few years ago with my other band at the time. So we had a little bit of a chat then, and I think I've had a few phone calls with him before we did that interview, and that was it. So there was a lot I didn't know about him, and we hadn't talked about. I obviously knew that the AC/DC thing happened, but I didn't know anything else about it. So it was kind of like that for me. But it was a shame it was over Zoom, because he doesn't live that far away from me. He probably lives like 20 minutes away from me or something like that. So otherwise I would have liked to have done it in person. But I didn't watch that Crowcast with him, actually. I'm sure we probably covered a few similar topics. I don't know, but
so similar areas, like you say. But no,
he's great. Yeah, amazing guy.
Great drummer as well. I mean, I mentioned Buck and Evans there, and I've seen them a few times, and always really solid live.
Solid, yeah. And I haven't seen Son of Man yet, but he's great, and he was quite well. He always told me, like, I'm quite shocked you asked me to do this. I'm like, why would you be shocked? You're in like 2 AC/DC videos, the biggest band on the planet, and you're a great drummer, and you've done all these other things. It's like, why wouldn't I ask you to do?
It was one of the last bands I saw before lockdown, actually, because Buck and Evans, they were playing at Planet Rock's Winter's End Festival. Which the last one that I went to before the whole country shut down. So
last February, was it, or something like that? Yeah, cool.
But so it was one of the last bands I saw, and then they were fantastic. I didn't get a chance to say hello, but
they are amazing. Yeah, and
great.
Obviously Chris is unbelievable talent.
Today, I think everybody was just sort of just watching Chris.
Yeah,
fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So have you got any guests or episodes lined up that you can tell us about? Or?
I have, but I don't know. I don't want. Well, when is this going to go out?
Roughly? It won't be out for a couple of weeks because I've got some stuff to air next week. So, or we can delay it and put it out whenever you want.
No, that's right. Yeah. Well, let's just say that my next episode, which should be out by the time you hear this, is going to be with Mickey D.
Nice.
So he obviously used to play in Motorhead,
Yeah.
And now he's in the Scorpions.
Yeah.
So I haven't told many people this, so you're very lucky.
Oh,
so I'm really excited to. That's why I haven't really rushed it out, because I spoke to him before Christmas. I managed to squeeze it in, because even though I was really busy, he actually kind of got back to me and said, "Oh yeah, I can do it now." So I was like, I actually took some time off work. I said, "Look, this guy is available on this day. I know I said I'd work, but can I have like 4 hours off to do the interview, and then I'll come back in the evening or something like that." But I was just like, I'm not gonna let this one go, because he's not the most famous drummer in the world, but I thought for my demographic, I think he would be popular. I would have thought so. So I kind of hope in.
I look forward to listen to that one, mate.
Yeah, it should be good. To be honest, I haven't actually edited the episode together yet, so I haven't listened to it all again. I haven't re-listened to it yet. I've been concentrating on the website and stuff. So that's kind of my plan for the next week, is to kind of get that together. And I'm working on a few other things. I've got another interview tomorrow with another guy, but that probably won't be out till the end of February. So I'm not going to say, but let's say is another Welshman. So that's interesting. So other than that, there's a few, like I said, there's a few people that have said they're interested, but we just haven't nailed down an interview yet. Or a few guys I'm kind of like chasing, but not chasing too hard, but I really want to get them. And yeah, I'm open for suggestions. Obviously, I'm at this stage where, like, I guess if guys are in lesser well-known bands, I haven't really got that much to kind of promote them yet, because I kind of need to grow my kind of average listener base, and then hopefully I'll get to a stage where I can help those kind of lesser known drummers out more. That's what I'm hoping to get to a stage, because I got loads of guys I've met over the years that play in bands that would be really interesting. But I'd rather wait till, like, I can at least guarantee them a good few hundred listeners or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
But probably not quite at that stage yet. But who knows? I don't know. I don't really know how many listeners I have. It's hard to know with all the different formats. But
yeah, definitely.
But
the new one will be stunning, man. I'm looking forward to that.
I think so. I think I'm hoping if I plug it a lot and spend a lot of time kind of making little trailers and adverts and posting it as many places as possible. If he can post it would be nice. But that's the thing. You get these drummers, and if they post about it a few times, it create a lot of buzz. But then it's kind of, I guess you can ask, and if you ask, they might do it once, and then it all depends whether that post kind of goes well, or what time of day they post it. Or
when we had the interview, what I'll do is I'll post a link to the podcast. You've got the website up by then, we'll do that.
Yeah.
And like I say, I've been listening to it before we spoke, and it's a great podcast. So cool. We'll certainly push it across our socials and all that. So
that'd be great. Thank you very much.
Anyone listening to this will see the link for the Drum for the Song podcast on our socials, and they can go check it out, because they really should.
Yeah, tell them to check it out, and let me know who they'd want on the podcast. That would be interesting. If there's any bands or drummers from bands they like, to give me some ideas, because at the end of the day, I don't know every band that exists.
No, of course not.
And sometimes there's bands I probably just forget or just don't think about. So yeah, any ideas, give me something to kind of look into, or whether I can find someone who knows them. Or I don't really like just dropping drummers random messages, although I have done that a few times. But it's better to be introduced by someone. I think. But yeah, But
sometimes you get a bit cheeky though.
Yeah, you've got to. But I don't want to spoil it might only be my only chance to get in with them.
Yeah, of course.
So I think if I can find a way for someone to introduce me, I think that's a little bit easier. It looks a little bit more legit.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, let me know who you want to see on there, or any drummers that you think would be interesting, and I'll see what I can do.
That's good, man. I must admit, I'm looking forward, because obviously Mickey's working on the new Scorps album at the minute, so looking forward to seeing what's come from that, because obviously I was a huge Motorhead fan it was like it was that thing me and my mates we always, like I say, I studied the UEA, and it was like every year Motorhead would come to the UEA. Not Cambridge down the road. So it was always, we went to at least two. We'd either go to London or Nottingham, or somewhere and have a night out in Nottingham or London. Nice. And then there was one on our doorstep. So there was no way in hell we weren't going to that. So obviously, sadly, when Lemmy passed away, a lot of us were like, you know, what's your dad going to do? What's Phil going to do? And what's Mickey going to do now? So obviously, your dad's got you guys now, and doing great stuff with the Suns. And then I was due to see Mickey. I think I've got this the right around. He was due to be playing with Thin Lizzy at Ramblin' Man Fair.
I think that's correct. Yeah.
And it got announced that he was doing the Thin Lizzy show at Ramblin' Man Fair, and we were going to that. And I was like, oh, brilliant! That'd be great to see.
Yeah.
You know, you could easily see him filling in those shoes like no problem.
Definitely, yeah.
And then it came announced that he wasn't going to do it because of something he couldn't quite announce yet, and that Scott Travis of Judas Priest was coming in, and Scott Travis did a great job. He was fantastic.
I want to get in touch with Scott. Actually, that would be.
He'd be a good one.
He'd be amazing. Yeah.
He'd be a really good one, Scott Travis.
Yeah, I haven't put any connections into that yet, but I'm sure. I think my dad probably hook me up somehow. I'm sure.
That'd be a good one, Scott Travis.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah,
that'd be cool. But yeah, then Scott Travis took over. He did a fantastic job. Then it was announced, of course, that Mickey was taken over from James Kotak and was going to drum for the Scorps. And then I think it was about 6 months later, my wife won tickets to the Stone Free Festival, where the Scorps were headlining that. And that was the first time I saw Mickey with the Scorps. Anyway.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I think he's elevated them, to be honest. I love James Kotak. I'm a big Scorps fan. I'd only actually seen him once before Mickey joined, actually, because they obviously came to the UK quite often, and that was also at Ramblin' Man Fair.
Oh, right, yeah.
That was the first Ramblin' Man Fair they headlined, and James Kotak was still drumming for him then. Don't get me wrong, he was fantastic, great drummer, great showman, and all that. But there was something about watching Mickey behind the kit when we saw him at Stone Free. It seemed to link up a bit more. I don't know what it was. There just seemed to be something a bit more there. And
yeah,
a couple of times since, because we saw him there, and then we saw him at Bloodstock Festival 2019. That would have been now, but
nice.
There seems to have. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it. Me and my wife have discussed it a few times, but there definitely seems to be a touch more magic with Mickey behind the kit than there was with Kotak.
He kind of talks about that. I think he's confident that he's kind of giving them a little bit more oomph or a bit more power. But yeah, he talks really highly about that band and what the other guys are like and the energy level that those guys have because they're older than him.
Yeah.
But I think he's pretty confident that. Well, it's great. It's really interesting what he says about it actually, and he says he's brought like a little bit of Motorhead to their sound. But I think he means like the power.
The power of it, yeah, definitely.
Power of his drumming.
He's always been a real powerful, guttural drummer.
Oh yeah.
So, like I say, I'm really looking forward to. So I've always really enjoyed the more heavier side of the Scorps. You know, tracks like Blackout and that kind of thing. I've always loved a lot more. And there was elements of it on their last album, but obviously Mickey in the engine room, as it were, like going back to what we were saying at the beginning of the conversation, we're talking about, you know, different drummer completely changed the sound.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of that because if he's bringing Motorhead energy levels to the Scorps, then that's going to be something brilliant.
Yeah, it's something that I think a lot of people are going to be looking forward to hearing. I think it's their first album in a while. I don't know a hell of a lot about the Scorpions, to be honest. I did see them live once with Mickey, Barcelona Rock Festival a few years ago. I'd had a few beers, which I regret. I wish I hadn't because I guess I wasn't really paying attention as much as I should have. Yeah,
more like gigs like that.
It was it was one of those days that I think we were playing main stage at like 2 in the afternoon or something like that.
Okay.
Boiling hot. So we actually had. It was one of those rare occasions where we all stayed and had a few beers and we had a few guests that we knew that were their friends of ours. So we all had a good time. And obviously we wanted to watch Scorpions. And I think was it Scorpions and Kiss? I think it was Scorpions and Kiss. It was something ridiculous. It's such a good lineup. So we were like, oh, let's stay around. But I had a few too many beers. And I remember it, but I mean, I'm normally I don't really drink a lot. I'm not a big drinker, so I'm normally a bit more level-headed and sober.
But we've all had those ones where you get a bit carried away.
Yeah. No, it was one of those times.
I'm like, I'm not a. Don't get me wrong, I like a beer and all that, but I'm not. Odd gigs, I'll go a bit crazy if it's going that way. But generally, I'm too busy watching bands to keep going back to the bar. You know.
Yeah. I'm normally bloody driving, but that's my problem normally. Or because I don't drink before I play or anything. So,
of course.
Or like, even like when we play headline shows, or even if we're like main support or whatever, there's not much time really afterwards to have a beer. So I like having like a nice ice cold beer as soon as I finish a set. And sometimes I'm like, oh, that's all I want. I'll do. Have a shower, go to bed. It's not that exciting. Our tour bus isn't that exciting.
There's that
probably with the least rock and roll band on the planet, I think.
Well, there's a myth, isn't there, that, you know, backstage it's, you know, Motley Crue in 1984, but it's not. Like I say, obviously working Stone Dead, and with my festival Just Push Play, I've got a mate of mine, and I love him to bits, but he does think every gig, whether it's at, you know, pub level or Wembley Stadium or whatever, there's always that party going on. And with Just Push Play, we're in a sort of 800 capacity venue, so it's not, you know, it's not a tiny venue, but it's not Wembley by any means. And last year we were, I keep saying last year, wasn't it? It was 2019. We're in 2021 now, but
last year didn't exist.
No, last year didn't exist. We had
from our album came out. That did exist.
That's the only bit that mattered. Yeah. But we had Massive Wagons headline, and great guys, great band, and they were headlining the show. And I say, my mate, he thinks that it's all Motley Crue in 1984, and there's, you know, mountains of coke and all this kind of rubbish going on, which there wasn't at all, because it's not that sort of thing. And he's going, I want to come backstage, and like, although he's my mate, he doesn't get backstage because he's my friend. You know what I mean? I'm trying to keep this as professional as possible. I have a small group of mates who help me out on the day itself of running the event and coordinating everything and that side of things. But just because you're my friend, you don't get to go backstage, because obviously I set up Just Push Play in memory of my dad. I lost my dad to cancer, basically. And all the money goes to the hospice that cared for him and stuff. And it started off in a back room of a local pub with my band and friends' bands playing. And each year it's got a bit bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're now 5 years in, and now we're, you know, like this year, fingers crossed, or depending, we've got Those Damn Crows headline in it. We've got Bad Touch. We've got some great bands on it.
Oh, wow, yeah.
They're all really good on the rising side of things. We're now in the Apex the last few years. This £800 proper venue, so it's gone about. And with it being in tribute to my dad, I want to be as professional as possible. I wanted to keep it going. I want people to talk about it, both bands and the punters. So obviously, I don't have anyone just wandering around backstage, just going, "Oh, great, I'm going to go annoy Massive Wagons," which is basically what my mate was going to try and do. And he went, "Oh, but I want to go. I've got to go. There'll be a party. I need to go to the party." And I'm like, "Dude, I've just been in Massive Wagons' dressing room, making sure everyone's okay, everyone's got what they want, everyone's happy. Baz is asleep. Steve's drinking tea. The other guys are tuning up. No one's having a party. Just leave it alone."
Well, everyone's just on their phones normally.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, that's literally what. It's ridiculous.
This is it. Yeah, everybody thinks it's some sort of scene out of the dirt or something, and you go back and, like you say, everyone's just. I
think there's still some bands like the party, but I think people have learned from those days, and when you look into it, how many of those guys are still, number one, how many of them are still alive? Unfortunately, it's a bit grim, but and how a lot of them have been affected quite negatively by living that lifestyle, even if it was just for 10 years or whatever, during the 80s. And it's I think, like, especially people from my generation, like, I don't really know anyone my age who's in a band or a professional band that people like having a drink, a few beers, but I don't know anyone that's ever done all that kind of stuff.
No.
It's just people just know, are more wise to it, and they just know they know it's not healthy. There's no good ending to it. Like, the most rock and roll situation I've ever been in, I'm not going to say what band it was, because I don't know whether it's common knowledge. It was at the Download Festival, and it was at a Download Festival where Motorhead were playing. And I think my band might have been playing. And I was there, my then girlfriend, wife now, my mum was there, and some of her friends were there, whatever. And basically, one of the headline bands had an after show party in their dressing room area, and we'd been invited because my dad knows everyone's. But we got invited, and sitting there with a beer or whatever. My wife there, well, my girlfriend at the time, my mum, and then basically we kind of realized there was like half a dozen kind of ladies of the night that had been invited, and they were kind of mingling around with everyone.
All right.
And I think they were there for the band members, I think.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a weird situation, and I guess it shows that it does stuff like that happens.
Oh yeah, of course it does.
But yeah, it was a bit funny because my mum was there, and then like I saying it, and she was saying hello to one of the girls, the ladies, and yeah, it was just bizarre, really, being in that situation. And then it was all going around, I guess they all had the cabins and stuff, so something was going on in there. They were there for a reason. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But everyone was like normal. I'm sure there's still drugs that go around and that, but I think people from my generation are more wise to it, and they just you learn from the past at the end of the day, and all the stuff that's gone on in the 70s, especially the 80s. You see these people go into these horrible situations, and some of them don't come back out, and it messes them up. So I'm not interested in learning about that. I'm happy. I'm happy with a beer after a show and going to bed.
Yeah,
play my Nintendo sometimes if I'm lucky. I'm happy with that. And then
we're similar age, and when I was at UEA studying, going back to what you were saying, we used to do a lot of. There was a bar in Norwich, it's not there anymore, called Hades. It was like the basement rock bar, and we used to do a lot of like after parties for like the crowd from whatever gig had been on at the waterfront for whatever. And we used to get a lot of the bands come down because they were linked, owned by the same people at one point. So they used to tell bands sometimes they'd come down, sometimes they wouldn't. Most of the bands were cool. We had Skin Dread come down; they were absolutely brilliant. Benji ended up coming. I was DJing it, and like Skin Dread came in, and I love Skin Dread, and they all came in, like, and everybody obviously want to go chat to Skin Dread. And I thought, well, I'm DJing, I'm not going to get anywhere near the band, so what do I do? Well, Skin Dread's after party. Let's throw some Skin Dread on the decks, and threw on there. There was a few years ago now. That's when they were doing their Roots Rock Riot album. So I chucked that on. Benji sort of hears the album come on. He's like, hey, and he starts walking up to the decks, like, and he's like, oh, is it cool if I come in? I'm like, yeah, cool, yeah, of course. Next thing I know, Benji's like DJing with me for about half an hour, just handing me stuff, going, put that on. I'm like, oh, all right, yeah, cool. And that you had some really nice people like that. But again, I'm not going to mention the band because it ain't fair. But there was one band that came. They were due to come down, and about 15 minutes, half an hour before they arrived. Bear in mind, this is a little basement rock bar, and it's for a gig at the Norwich Waterfront, and it's like the after show to that. It's this little basement rock bar. It's not a huge place, and we get a call in the bar, basically saying they want X grams of this, X grams of that, X a number of women, or they're not coming. And we were like, I'm not, my mate who ran the bar, they've got my mate Kate on the phone who runs the bar, and he's like, I'm a bar owner, I'm not a pimp or a drug dealer. I'm a bar manager, for God's sake. Like,
yeah,
where do you expect me to? I'm not going to go out I'm not going to go out to score drugs and get some prostitutes in. Like, what's going on? And
risk, to put all that risk
into his bar for that. Yeah. And we got told that if we didn't provide that they wouldn't come down, basically. So my mate Kay went, don't come down then.
Yeah.
Because I'm not bringing it. And we took great delight in telling all these guys' fans exactly why their favourite band didn't come down.
Oh, wow.
They sort of came in and there was people going, you said they were going to be there. Why aren't they here? And you're like, because we weren't going to go score drugs.
Yeah, basically.
But,
can you tell me who it was after you finished recording?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah,
so I've since spoken to the guys, and they've got clean now. And one of them, I've dealt with. And to be fair, we heard later down the line that it wasn't the band that were demanding this.
Oh, right. It was the crew or part of it.
It was someone else, someone in there. Entourage that were demanding it, but they would put it on for the band so that they could enjoy themselves. That's what we were told.
Yeah, maybe that's probably right. Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, pretty mental, man.
I asked for what's my rider requests. Powerade. I got to have some Powerade. A couple of bottles of Powerade. I know if there's no Powerade there, I can't do the show. No, I get away with it. But no, to be honest, I listened to. I might have to quit Powerade because I listened to I was some podcast the other day. I listened to a lot of like health stuff, and it was like demonizing energy drinks so much. And I'm not like into the Red Bull side of things, stuff like that. But I didn't realize that the sports drinks were particularly awful as well. So I might have to knock down the head. But yeah, and our other thing, which this is essential, it's on our rider in red, very important, is bananas. Me and
I was
Tyler.
told about the bananas at Stone.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, me, Tyler, and my dad generally partakes in a banana about half hour before we go on stage. Especially me, if I don't have one, I feel a bit edgy. I'm like, oh, I need one. I just feel I got to the stage where I feel like I need it to get through the show. But it's just in my head, I think. I'm sure I could get through it. But it helps because it's just about my stamina.
It's very important.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just like the kind of sugar. I guess it's nice natural sugars to kind of keep your energy flowing and keep, because it's like an hour and a half set. It's kind of like just to keep me going, really. It's pretty energetic set. And I just got used to it now. So that's sometimes there's a problem if there's no banana. I've actually gone out and bought my own. I'm happy to do that if there's a shop nearby. And it's only a bloody £1 for a bunch of bananas or whatever. But that's like kind of the main things I want. And then
there you go, sorted. Powerade and some bananas.
Obviously, if there's some food, it'd be nice as well. But and water, we need water, obviously. But yeah, we're not. I don't know what else.
I was always amazed, since we're doing Just Push Play, and obviously we look after bands and all that and that side of things. And some bands I've dealt with who, on a lower level than that, and who just don't get basic things like water backstage at certain gigs they play. And you think, really?
Yeah, I know it's like I've done the kind of really low end touring. I've done that, like being the support band of a 4-band bill in like a tidy venue, and it's kind of like you don't get anything, and you don't even get paid half the time, so you don't get any money.
No.
And if you're lucky, you'll get like a 6-pack of waters between you, and if you're really lucky, you'll get like a can of lager each. And like I've done all that kind of thing. So like I'm really grateful to be in the position I am now with this band, and we've had the advantage, and we kind of skipped that kind of low end of the touring circuit. I've done it with other bands. Everyone in my band has done it with other bands.
I was going to say, you've all paid your dues. You know what I mean? You've not lived tonight. You've all paid your dues, and
we've all done it to some level or another. Like Neil was quite successful with his bands. He got, he did that himself and built his bands up and got quite a following. Me and Todd were in a band called Straight Lines. If anyone wants to check it out, good rock band, melodic rock band, kind of more modern sounding. Like we got to a level we were kind of headlining small clubs and stuff, but some of the places we played on the way up, it's hard work. We've played to nobody. We've played to 2 people. We did Download Festival and stuff like that, and did some cool stuff. But I think because we did that, we really appreciate where we are now.
Yeah, of course.
And like we don't take it for granted. And obviously it'd be great to get to a level higher again, which is I guess what we're trying to aim for. It would be nice to be a bit more comfortable and to play to more people and sell more merch, obviously, because that's kind of we're looking at it as a career. And apart from COVID, we were all kind of professional.
Yeah, cool.
Kind of doing it or trying to be professional. Right. I guess we did things on the side, and like Todd's got a studio and stuff, and Neil's got his fingers in a few pies. Let's say that. But at the end of the day, we want to make it a career for as long as we can. As long as my dad's up for it. Once he's not up for it anymore, I guess we'll have to look into doing something else. But he's enjoying it. But like because
anyone who's seen you will know that. Yeah, you're gonna get idiots who say X, Y, and Z about any band, but anyone who's seen you guys can tell the whole lot of you. You're not up there for bunts. You're not up there for cash in the pocket. You can see you guys enjoy playing with each other.
Oh yeah, I absolutely love it
playing live. And your dad's still your dad's Old Line's Still Raw album that he released in 2019 was one of my favorite albums of the year.
Oh, cool.
I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to you, but.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It is good
level of music he's got on that, and the guests that you got on there, and obviously earlier we mentioned Skindred, and obviously he's got Benji from Skindred singing a song that I didn't realise was Benji from Skindred.
Oh, right.
And I looked at it because it's obviously he's not doing the sort of reggae rapping that he's sort of known for.
Yeah, I think that's probably one
vocal with it.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of his most diverse kind of pieces of music he's ever been on. I think.
Definitely.
Kind of. I think, well, saying that, I have heard he's got a few little side projects on the go. I don't actually know Benji myself. I'd love to meet him one day, but
Oh, I say I've only met him the once that time, and he was brilliant. They all were, all the Skindred guys. They were absolutely sound. That's what made us laugh, because Skindred came on, and they were obviously like the headline band, and they came on, and they were really cool with everyone, and they were chatting to people. Like I say, Benji came behind the decks with me and was sort of going, "Oh, Lee, play like," once he obviously knew my name, but play that, put that on, put this on. And then after a while, he's going, "Why haven't you got a beer?" And I'm like, "Well, because I'm DJing and I can't get to the bar. It's over there." And he like nicked my Skindred album that I had on the decks, walked off, came back with it signed from the band, and I still got over there like 2 leave. Thanks for DJing, and then he got to sign it, and came back with a couple of beers and was like, "Here you go, mate." And they were really, really nice guys.
Legend.
Spoke to Arja quite a bit. It was a really good night. And then they had a band who I didn't know at the time, now a fan of, a band called Carnival, Australian band.
Yeah.
They were main support. And again, I'll be honest, I didn't know who Carnival were at the time, but they came on and I'm going, "Wow, liking this. This is good." And they came down and they were really cool with everyone. And yet the opening band, who I can't remember the name of, who I'll be honest, there's a reason I don't remember the name of. They weren't for my cup of tea anyway. There's other people who might have seen them and might have enjoyed them, but
yeah, of course,
they weren't for me. And they came down. Well, 2 of them did, and they had the biggest egos on them in the room.
Yeah, I've heard that happens a lot. Apparently, like I've heard a lot of people say that it's the bigger bands are always the nicest people.
Yeah, like there was a set amount of like money behind the bar for drinks for the bands who would come down and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
and obviously when Skindred walk into the room, everyone's putting their arm around Benji or Arja and "Oh, can I get you a beer, mate? Can I get you a beer?" And they were good enough to accept them, but they were buying drinks back for people and that sort of thing. Carnival came in, few people, maybe not so many, because Skindred's the head. Skindred, "Oh, mate, really enjoyed your set. Do you want a drink?" sort of thing. And they were cool and chatting to people. But there was a set amount of drinks behind the bar and a set amount of money behind the bar for the bands who were playing, and they were drinking it and enjoying themselves. This opening band, who, if I remember rightly, one of them literally sort of came in, like you could tell as soon as he walked in the room, he was sort of looking around the room to see if anyone had noticed him come in and all that kind of thing. And you think, and it was that thing, I wasn't being horrible, but I was DJing, I'm going, "What's that bloke looking around for?" And I'm thinking, "Oh, it's I think it was the bass player maybe, or I can't remember." Yeah. "Oh, they were in the, they were in the opening end." And then literally when the freebies had run out, and it wasn't stupid. It wasn't like you've only got 1 drink each. There was a sort of substantial amount of booze money that was put behind the bar.
Yeah.
For them. And when that ran out, whereas Benji and the rest of the boys from Skindred and the Carnival lads were going, "Oh no, that's cool, man. No, thanks for that's blah blah blah," and still buying drinks and enjoying themselves. This guy literally starts going, "Right, who's going to buy me a drink there, or I'm going home?" And everybody's going, "Go home then, mate." Like,
yeah.
We weren't going to buy you a drink anyway, and especially with that attitude. So.
Yes, I think I've seen that before. I guess when I was at that other stage with that other band, that I experienced more kind of ego from, I don't know, I guess you get to a point where, I guess if you're on the way up and you're like, I guess you're playing slightly bigger venues or you've supported this band, you kind of think you're the dog's, I don't know if I can swear, but and then I think you must get past that stage and realize how much of a dick you were. And then you realize, hang on, there's no need to be a dick. But I've seen it before. I don't know what band you were talking about, but I kind of know what you mean. And like we've always been quite grounded and
like
whatever you are.
I was fortunate enough to meet Lemmy. He nice. when Motorhead played the UEA, he came down to the bar, was having a drink. As is obviously Lemmy was partial to. And we happened to be in the bar. We were sort of between lectures, and we were going to see Motorhead that night. We had a few hours between lectures and went into the bar. At the time, there was a smoking bar and a non-smoking bar at the uni. This is literally the year before the smoking ban came.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a while ago. Yeah.
So it was my first year of uni, and I smoked at the time, so naturally I'm in the smoking bar. And I went to the bar to get a drink, and I heard a very familiar voice ask for a Jack and Coke, and I'm thinking, I know that voice. I looked up, and it was Lemmy, and he was lovely. He was a real sweetheart.
Yeah.
And I sort of gone immediately. I was there with my Motorhead t-shirt on because I'm going to see him that night, and I'm like, I'll get that. And he went, you don't have to get me a drink. And I went, Lemmy, I'm coming to see you tonight. If I've got the opportunity to buy you a drink, I'm going to buy you a drink. And he said, oh, brilliant. And don't get me wrong, there was a few people around there wanting to talk to him because it's Lemmy.
Of course. And, he's not exactly discreet.
No, you wouldn't miss him in a crowd, would you? No. And he was great. And I always remember we were there chatting, and I'm sure your dad gets fed up of the same thing, but all anybody was saying was, are you going to play Ace of Spades? And you're like, for God's sake. And at the time, it was when Motorhead had just released the Kiss of Death album.
Oh, nice, yeah.
An album been out a few weeks, and I'd got it, and I was falling in love with this album. I was really discovering it, and I went, are you going to play God Was Never On Your Side? Because it was a bit off the cuff, but that's one of my favourite Motorhead songs.
It is great, yeah.
Great song. And I remember Lemmy looking at me, and he went, finally someone who's talking to me who's bought the fucking album.
Class.
Just
I think he was always proud of his latest album and stuff like that. And a lot of people tell me, I've heard on interviews and stuff that if it was like an album they were working on at the time, he'd take them onto the tour bus and say, let me show you the new album and stuff like that. And he was always like proud of what he was working on at the time. And so, you probably really appreciated that.
But like, to me, don't get me wrong, everyone loves the classics, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say and sit here, and I'm not going to sit here and say, I don't love Overkill and I don't love Ace.
Yeah.
I don't love, whatever. But to me, and I've always said this, like Saxon, to be fair, I think from around Inferno onwards, I think those sets of albums, from Inferno all the way through to Bad Magic, I think that's some of the best stuff Motorhead ever did.
Yeah, me too.
I love those latter day albums. It's the same with Saxon. People always go on about 747 and, bands played on and Wheels of Steel and all that kind of thing. But again, probably from around the similar age of sort of Lionhearts of early 2000s all the way through. And again, both bands saw them tour together, saw them tour separately. Obviously still seeing Saxon. And they're a band that just keep writing great material. And I just get quite, it's nothing worse. Like I remember it was Download 2008, and we're watching Motorhead were coming onto the stage, and there's me and my mate Alec. And again, all you can hear is people chanting Ace of Spades, and you think, oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Can you chant another song? Like we all love it. They're going to play it.
Yeah.
It's like I ran out of new books to read before Christmas. Fortunately, I got a few more over Christmas. So, but just before Christmas, I was rereading some things. And I was rereading White Line Fever, Lemmy's book.
Yeah.
And he was saying in that, like, if he could get away with it, just one show, he'd love not to have played Ace of Spades. But
you can't do it.
No. I saw a similar thing with Europe, actually, apparently, because of the Final Countdown and all that. They're another band. I watched them at Sonosphere Festival, 2010. Oh, cool. And I'll be honest, didn't know a lot of Europe at the time. I'm not going to say I did. I knew the Final Countdown like everyone else, and that was about it. And no one else was on. They were on before Alice Cooper. And I wanted to get my spot for Alice Cooper. So then girlfriend, now wife. Nice. And me and Joe, we went down. And I'm thinking, let's go watch Europe. That'll be a laugh. And they came out with their new album stuff, and there was a very new album, Heavy Set, which was a lot more hard rock, a lot more bluesy, a lot more up my street, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is great. Like, Joe's looking at me going, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I didn't think I'd be enjoying Europe. But this is brilliant. And I've loved every album they've done since. And again, the latter day stuff I think is much better. But I remember seeing an interview with Joey Tempest, and he was saying it was Download 2012. And they had decided on the way that they weren't going to do Final Countdown, because they always had to play it. And they decided at Download 2012, no, we're going to focus on the newer stuff, the heavier stuff. It's Download, it's Donington. We're going to play a sort of more heavier bass set. But that was the year that like all the rain that happened at Download, and half the bands like didn't get to play, and including Europe, which I was remember seeing the interview. They got stuck in a traffic jam because of the weather.
Yeah. And
they were caught up in a traffic jam, couldn't get a thing, managed to call ahead to some bands and friends and text they knew to say, look, we're now running across the field to get to download because our car and gear is stuck in traffic. Can someone lend us this? Can we lend this? And they managed to sort of cobble together a backline and guitars and bass guitars and a drum kit to use.
Wow.
And they literally sort of like dove out of their bus and ran across the field, sort of thing, with their passes that I'm guessing got sent to them prior, going, you know, can we come in? And only to then be told when they arrived, yeah, we've not opened the gates yet to the arena because it's too bad and you won't be playing today. And I was like, oh,
what?
Doing all that, going through all that, and then getting told, sorry, you can't play today because of this.
That's the thing. That's so, like, because downloads in June and it's in the UK. It's so hit or miss, the weather.
Oh, yeah.
I've been there and it's been beautiful.
Oh yeah, like when I first went, like from 2005 all the way through to like 2009, it wasn't always. I mean, 2006 and 2009 were really hot years, but it was always dry. It was never. I don't ever remember any rain in those years. And then like the last few years I've gone, it's been like quagmire everywhere. You know, it's been awful.
Global warming, probably. No, I don't know. It's just bad luck, really. Hey. Yeah, but that's crazy. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, I don't think we've ever done a show and not played Ace of Spades, and it's a bit of a shame. But even though my dad didn't write that song, it's kind of
still though, isn't it? He played it for odd years, and
well, the funny thing is, I don't know at what point will he be the man that's played that song live more than anyone else, apart from Lemmy, or whether that's already happened because we've played it so many times.
Yeah, true.
Because at some point, obviously, I don't know how someone might be able to work it out, how many times Lemmy played that live. Obviously, since it originally came out, but like my dad obviously played at every show that he played with the band for 32 years or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Plus, we've played it every song, every gig we've ever done, and you've got to think that we were a band before the Bastard Sons. We were Phil Campbell's all-star band.
They say you went from the all-star band.
Yeah, and we did that for like, I think it was like 2 years.
Yeah,
maybe 3 years before Lemmy died, unfortunately. And like we did covers then, but we played Ace of Spades every gig. And we've done a lot of gigs since. So I don't know, at some point, or if he's not already, my dad will be the human on the planet that's played that song live more than anyone else. It's just quite funny.
It is, yeah. But like you say, it's part of your dad's history. Like, he was in for 30 odd years, and whether you write it or not, and obviously your dad was heavily involved in the writing of Motorhead from when he joined.
Definitely, really heavily.
That's the thing. Like, I remember seeing an interview with Lemmy, and they were sort of saying, "So what's your writing process?" And he went, "Well, I go see what Phil and Mickey have been up to."
Yeah, I think that's top of it. I think he didn't really hide the fact that was how they worked.
How much work your dad and Mickey put into the band. I think anyone, as much as Lemmy, lyrically, what a writer, obviously doing his own thing with bass. I mean, Jesus, there's not another man on this planet who plays bass like Lemmy, quite frankly.
No.
No one ever plays bass like almost like a rhythm guitar type thing that he went for with it. But I don't think anyone worth their salt in terms of music would ever try and say that Motorhead was all Lemmy. Like, yeah, key figure of it, leader of it, certainly, his band for 40 years. But to try and outdo or say anyone's other contributions, whether it be your dad, whether it be Mickey, whether it be, Brian Robertson when he was in it, or Phil Gill, Filthy Phil, Past Eddie, or any of them. But especially with you, I mean, obviously, and Wurzel as well. That was one of the first things I ever saw when that was Download 2008. Wurzel came out on stage.
Oh, nice.
And that was absolutely brilliant. I loved that.
Yeah. I think I was there. I must have been there for that then, yeah.
Yeah, and
maybe my other band played that. I'll have to check what years my other band played. We played Straight Lines played there twice. And we did one year was on the acoustic stage.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know whether that might have been. No, it must have been after that. No, it must have been definitely. You said 2008.
Yeah, 2008.
Yeah, it would have been after that then, yeah. But
I remember me and my mate Alec, because we were friends, but we were camped in like different groups of people.
Yeah.
And every year, I don't know why this worked out this way, but every year we'd go in with the people that we were camped with. But there was a period of about 2 or 3 years where everyone that I was camped with, different music taste. They're more into sort of metal, whereas I was more into sort of old school rock and classic rock and blues rock and that side of things. They don't like heavy, but they were into the more sort of extreme side. So we'd always end up coming in together, and then they'd go, I'm going over there. And I'd be like, right, I'm on my own for the day then. Let's go get a beer. In the process of getting a drink and going down to watch whoever, I would bump into Alec, who had the same thing. And we're like, why don't we just ever camp together? Because we end up spending the whole festival together anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were, with that happened, my friends had left. And I thought, right, well, if I'm going to be on my own, Motorhead are on next. So I'm going to go grab a beer and then work my way down the front. So I started working my way down the front, got to barrier level, and I felt someone try and push in next to me on the barrier. And I'm going to go, oh, all right, mate. I go, all right, mate. Oh, all right, Alec. And Alec's like, and yeah, so we were on the thing, and we always remember like Lemmy saying, bringing out an old friend of ours, and he didn't. And then Wurzel walked out on the stage.
Amazing.
Like, it's Wurzel. This is amazing.
That is amazing. Yeah.
Remember hearing some bloke behind me going, "Is that Fast Eddie?" And we're like, "No." Like it's Wurzel hasn't changed. He's just gone grey. Like
yeah, he looked pretty similar. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of weird, man. Because I'm like, I'm a member like on Facebook of a lot of the kind of Motorhead fan groups and stuff like that, and I do like read a lot of like negative stuff, unfortunately, about the kind of the Mickey D Phil.
Well, but that was the most consistent lineup.
I know it's weird, but like
you know,
there's a lot of people that stick up for him.
Like Wurzel was there.
Yeah, I know, and
4 of them. Then Wurzel left, and they just stuck to being a trio. But
yeah, but yeah, it's weird. Like I'm biased, obviously, but I think they produced the better material. I think
I'm not, and I'm saying the same thing as you.
Yeah, a lot of people do. And you know, at the end of the day, everyone's allowed to have their own opinion.
Everyone's going to have their own opinion, and everyone's entitled to it.
But it's just weird because I'm exposed to like seeing it because I'm a member because I want to try and push my stuff, and I use them as promotional places to promote my band and to promote, I guess, especially this next episode, I'm gonna be using it hopefully, to promote stuff like that. But like, I'm just scrolling through my Facebook feed and I like see like there's a picture of my dad and like, what does everyone think of Phil compared to Fast Eddie? And then it's just like a lot of bad stuff, and it's just like, why just appreciate that they were both in the band.
I've never understood that. I mean, I've seen it for bands throughout all the years. Like when I'm a huge Alice in Chains fan, we were going about the grunge thing earlier. I'm a massive Alice in Chains fan. I never got to see them with Lane just because of my age. Otherwise, I'd have been there. I remember trying to hassle my dad to take me. So my dad was going to go see Alice in Chains. I was like, Dad, take me. And he's like, you're 7. I can't take you to see Alice in Chains just yet, mate.
It's a shame.
Yeah, that was a shame. But when they started then playing with William DeVal, obviously at the helm, me and my mate Stevie, also a massive Alice in Chains fan, and they were playing Download 2006. And at that point, I hadn't heard William DeVal sing. I didn't even know what he looked like. You know, this 2006. I feel like I'm saying I went to work on a horse and cart, but you know. It was before social media was really kicking in.
Yeah. It was just before that, yeah.
So no one really knew. I didn't know what he looked like. I hadn't heard him sing or anything. All we knew that was Alice in Chains were playing, and me and my mate Stevie were going to go watch. And some of our friends were sort of sat on the hill watching them. And sorry, my cat is about to scratch the hell out of some furniture. Well, you.
Oh no! All right, okay.
Daffy, hey, stand there. Sorry about that.
It's all right, no problem.
He's wandered in the thing and decided to scratch the hell out of stuff. But yeah, so they were sort of sat on the hill. Me and Stevie were sort of stood by the sound desk because, to be honest, we wanted to basically stand there judgingly and go, no, not without Lane, and walk away. That was kind of what we wanted to do in a selfish, idiotic 19-year-old kind of way.
Yeah.
It came on. They did them, but they did Angry Chair, and me and Stevie are looking at each other going, like not saying anything, just like, yeah, this is fucking, yeah. And then they went into Them Bones, and me and Stevie just looked at each other, looked at everyone sat on the hill, and went, yeah, see you later. We just ran in, just got as far as we could. And I love those albums that he's done, that they've done with William at the Hell. I think they're fantastic. And yet again, anytime I'm fan of, like I say, on fan pages like you're saying about Motorhead, and anytime you always get, well, it's William versus Lane, and you're like, it's not. It's just a lineage. It's just part of the story. It doesn't have to be William versus Lane or Bon versus Brian Johnson or whoever it is.
Oh yeah, I get them because I'm in AC/DC groups, and yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
And I like there's even people like ripping into Axl Rose on an AC/DC group. It's like,
yeah,
he's like, he was just there to fill in. He was doing the band a favor.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't get to see him. I would have loved to have seen him.
I didn't go personally. I had some friends who went to the shows, and they said he was brilliant. Right.
Yeah, I heard he was great. And at the end of the day, he's such a difficult person to replace.
Yeah.
And if he hadn't done it, who would have done it? And then your tour would have been cancelled. So just be grateful that he was around to do it. And I can't think of anyone else who, with a name that could have done it.
No, I don't. I can't.
And I just don't see why people waste their energy just complaining about stuff like that. I just get a life. I don't really understand. I really don't get it.
I don't want bit.
It's great. It's nice to have a debate sometimes about important things, but
there's a difference between it's like a debate of like going back to the Alice in Chains thing of I prefer William because of this, or I prefer Lane because of that. That's fine. Yeah. That's cool. But it's when it's like gets vicious and it just gets attacking, and you think, what are you doing? What's the point, man? Like, yeah. But there we go.
We're meant to be here because we all like this band, and we're meant to enjoy this band's music, and then you just find enemies with people arguing about who's the better singer.
Like a few years later, Alice in Chains were playing Sonosphere 2014, and I was down there and I was watching Alice in Chains, and I was enjoying that, and there was this guy next to me, and it was like, they can't win with you, can they? Because when they were playing like the newer stuff that they'd written with William DeVoe, like the last 3 albums of Black Gives Way to Blue, or Devil Put Dinosaurs Here. They hadn't released the other album at that point, but the albums that they'd done with William up to that point when they're playing that material, he stood there going, no one wants to hear this. We all want to hear the classics. I don't want to. And I'm thinking, I want to hear these songs.
Yeah.
And then like when they were,
because you haven't listened, yeah.
And then when they were playing the classics, when they were playing Rooster or Wood or Them Bones or whatever it happened to be, he's there going, you're not lame, stop pretending. And I'm like, will you just go away? Because like they cannot win with someone like that. Like you're moaning if he plays his new stuff, and you're moaning if he plays the old stuff. Like,
just go and watch another band. Yeah. You're obviously not going to enjoy it. Like,
I've never understood why you would go watch a band that you're not going to enjoy. I've gone to watch bands. I'll go try them out because so and so's mentioned them to me.
Yeah.
And I've gone and watched a band and gone, that's not for me. And I've gone and got a beer and gone somewhere else. Or, for conversely, I've gone and watched bands that I've heard in the studio, and then thought, oh, this would be good, and I'll go watch it, and you think someone's took something before they've gone off stage, and you walk away. But I've never purposely gone and watched a band that I know I'm not going to enjoy and stand there through the whole thing moaning.
No, I don't see the point.
I don't get it. Like, I've been in situations where I've had people just moaning about stuff, and you think, just go do something. You're at a festival that's got how many other stages?
Yeah, exactly. Especially in that situation where you've got options.
Yeah, it's not like
why
no one's forcing you to watch it. Just go do something else.
Yeah, I'll go and buy an ice cream or something. That's what I used to do. I'd download Ice Cream Time after like your 5th or 6th beer.
Yeah,
it tastes good, man. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been to a festival as a punter for a few years now because we're always so busy during festival season.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Number one, the ones I would like to go to, I normally can't because I'm already busy. Or like if you've got a spare weekend that you are home, you kind of want to stay home.
Yeah.
And then, see my wife or whatever.
Yeah, see your wife, see your family. Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like spoiled that a little bit for me.
How does your mum get on during festival season? Because obviously
she doesn't enjoy it. Yeah, so that's the thing. She's on her own a lot now. Well, obviously not right now.
No, but I imagine whenever you guys are on tour, like obviously your dad's away, you're away.
Yeah, I think she's got 2 dogs and a few close friends that live nearby. But yeah, that's the one thing I feel really bad about is about when we go on tour. we don't tend to go on really long tours. One of the reasons is possibly that. One of the reasons is just to keep our sanity. But
Yeah, of course.
yeah, I think we do like maybe 3 weeks maximum, which isn't too bad. But yeah, it's a long 3 weeks for her to be on her own.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it sucks. So because obviously when my dad used to go away on tour for months on end, but at least she had us.
Motorhead did some really long tours. So.
Yeah, like when I was a kid, like I remember like some years my dad would be away like 9 months of the year, back and forth, but like it'd work out like that because they were always a really busy band, because I guess they never hit kind of like super level, stadium level. And band, when you hit that kind of level, you can afford not to be on the road all the time.
Yeah.
But like Motorhead, we're kind of like reliant on touring, I guess, and all the crew and all that. And I guess that's what kept the machine going, was the touring and releasing an album every other year.
Yeah,
they did. And some bands take 6 years in between albums. One of the reasons is probably they can afford to do that.
They can afford to take the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and but we obviously Motorhead, big band. You'd see them at main stages, Download and stuff. But the grand scheme of things, they relied on touring to kind of keep it going. So yeah, I didn't see him a lot. So yeah, I guess like I talk about this a lot, I guess, when people ask, and yeah, it affected us, I suppose. Well, we always used to look forward to him coming home, but yeah, it probably affected, I guess, how close we were, if you know what I mean, because it wasn't like he was there every night.
No,
like, I say normal job. I don't want to class people as having normal jobs, but like all my friends, I guess they found it really strange that my dad was never home. I guess there was a few other guys I know that, like, one of my mates, his dad worked on an oil rig, so he was in a similar situation. And it wasn't just exclusive to me, but like majority of my friends, if they had like dad still around or whatever, they'd see him every night after school or whatever. And I'm like, I haven't seen my dad for 2 months or whatever. and then obviously it was before. I guess it's easier now with like video calling and stuff, to kind of keep a connection. But it was like every now and again he'd ring the house phone. Hopefully my mum would answer, and sometimes if I was about, oh, Dane, do you want to speak to your dad on the phone? And I get to speak to him for a few minutes, and then I'd put the phone back onto my other brother or whatever. And I guess that's, I grew up like that. And then I go to a Motorhead gig maybe once a year, if they played in the UK, which they normally did. We go to a London show, or if they played Newport, we'd go there instead, or both sometimes. And yeah, they're good memories. But yeah, like wasn't around a lot. But how do we even get talking about this? I don't know. I don't know how we started this. But yeah, strange. Yeah, I guess I was on about touring. But yeah, we're always going to try and at least do 3 weeks maximum, and at least come home for a bit before we go back out again. And if we can, if people want to start offering us tours supporting Metallica and bands like that, maybe we won't have as much choice. But unfortunately, that's not happening. But if Lars, if you want to take us on tour.
I don't know if Lars listens to my show, but
no, maybe not. You might do.
You might do. You never know.
Yeah, but like that'd be a big dream. And like I'd like to think, because Metallica is supposed to be big Motorhead fans. Well, Lars is a massive Motorhead fan, and James supposedly is, and he wears t-shirts anyway. But that's the dream really, is to tour with massive bands like that. Like we're really lucky. We did shows with Guns N' Roses and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Which was amazing. Difficult though. It was difficult. I guess a big portion of the fan base, or at least the audience, are very casual kind of rock fans.
Yeah.
Because they just got, they got the big hits, Sweet Child of Mine, all that.
Yeah.
And I think we were perhaps a little bit too heavy, bit too noisy maybe, and I guess we didn't play any songs that they heard. It was difficult. I don't think we gained a huge amount of fans from doing that, despite playing to so many people. It made me really realize, fuck, like we played to like 90,000 people in Italy. That was great. That was really good.
That must have been incredible.
It was absolutely amazing. But it was still quite a tough crowd. It was still tough, and because you're used to playing to your own crowd that have come to see you, or when we've supported Saxon and Airborne and bands like that, very similar kind of music, or at least the fan base will appreciate our music.
Yeah, they're sort of that kind of crossover or something like Airborne, like that.
Yeah, it's never been that difficult really to win a crowd over. And luckily, we're a decent band. I think we're not shit, but that was tough, and it made me realize it's not all going to be easy. You get offered like if I ever got to play supporting Metallica, that might not be an easy gig either, because we're not really metal or thrash or anything. But yeah, I do it though. I definitely do it. But yeah, I guess at this stage, we're not really getting offered all these big tours all the time, and maybe one day it'll get a little bit easier once things get back on.
Yeah, well,
back out there, and
I'm hoping that they'll get back there before the end of the year out, mate. Because obviously you had to reschedule the Belfast one, which was hopefully now at the end of the year, and hopefully I'll see you there, mate.
Yeah, really. Well, if that happens, I'll be amazing. I've never been to Ireland. I've never been to Northern Ireland,
I hadn't been over there either, and obviously it's the same gang of mates who we went over to Hamburg with at the beginning
nice
last year, and obviously similar sort of time of year, and it's both mine and Mark's birthday, quite close.
Perfect.
So Hamburg was mine and his birthday, and then he went, "They're playing Belfast," and I went, "Brilliant! I've never been to Ireland." And right, we'll sort that out then. And then we booked that not too long after Hamburg. It wasn't that long after Hamburg. He announced it, and Mark messaged the group, local or WhatsApp group. Right, the boys are now playing in right, we'll go for that, and we booked all that, and then started hearing a rumor about this lovely little illness, and then we're like, right. And yeah, there we are a year later.
One thing I've just thought about now, I think we're meant to be doing Belfast and Dublin.
Yes.
But that's going to be so much more complicated now because of the Brexit thing.
Oh yeah, I never thought.
I'm like, oh God, that's probably going to make that gig.
Yeah, that's going to even be more complex.
It's going to make it financially not well. I don't know. We haven't booked anything yet because it's no point. It's all going to be a bit of a last minute thing before we start booking stuff. But
of course.
Bloody hell. Yeah, that's the other thing that's going to, for any of your listeners, I'm sure you've probably read about all the difficulties that it's going to bring to bands and not just bands and musicians, but anyone who needs to travel for work, basically. Europe is one of our, I guess I probably make more money playing in Europe than in the UK every year. So most of my income comes from playing in Europe. So if that's kind of going to get reduced massively, we got to figure out whether we can even afford to do it. We don't know yet because it's all up in the air at the moment. It's not looking good, but it's definitely going to cost us more,
isn't it? Sadly,
it's going to cost us more. It's going to cost our crew more, which means either we'll have to pay their costs or they're going to put their prices up. And obviously the merchandise thing, which is pretty scary. But the promoters are not going to pay us more, so it's just going to, whatever profit margin that we might have, it's just going to
shrink down.
So it's are we even going to be able to do it? Is it even worth doing? Because it's no point going on tour for 3 weeks in Germany if no one's going to make money.
No,
I'd love to as a jolly, but
but you got to think about the practicality of it as well.
Yeah, my dad ain't going to do it unless he's making a few quid.
Well, no, exactly. I'm not funny, but like you're saying, this is usually you go out there and play for the love of it and playing those venues and playing for your fans, but also you've got to make money out of it. It's your career at the end of the day.
If it is our jobs. If we were getting money from elsewhere, or if it was just a side thing, if I had a salary from another job or some passive income from something else, I don't know. I don't. But then, yeah, I'd probably do it and look forward to it. It'd be great. It'd be like a little holiday. Like when I was younger and I used to go on tour, I didn't make money then,
No.
but it was like I was doing it for the love of it and the hope that I might get big one day. And I had a job on the side. I'd have to use my annual leave to go on tour. And
Yeah.
actually, the one job I had, quite nice. They used to let me have like unpaid leave,
All right.
give me a bit more flexibility. But yeah, I'd never earned money.
No.
Like I'm at a different stage of my life now. I've got a mortgage and
yeah, this is it. You got
stuff like that.
To think of.
I can't really afford to, even though I'm sure I would enjoy the experience of touring around in a bus. If it's going to cost me money, or as a band, we risk losing money, which is you don't really. The thing is with touring, you can't really calculate your costs that accurately in advance. There's so many variables.
Yeah,
you kind of roughly do it, but when it comes down to it, especially with fuel and tolls and stuff, because in Europe you have to pay a lot of tolls.
There's tolls everywhere all over the shop.
Yeah, and sometimes you can, and if you're doing like a 10-hour drive from one country to another country, sometimes you can rack up like 500 euros worth of tolls or whatever, especially with a big bus, and because you pay more depending on like the vehicle and stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's bloody crazy, man. And you realize, bloody hell. And then, yeah, the whole Brexit thing is just, I'm sure there's lots of people out there who are pro Brexit. I'm sure there are, but I'm not. So I never was, and I never will be. So
no,
I don't think anyone in our industry is really. So I don't know.
No, you'd be a bit hypocritical if you were, really. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. So well, that's the one thing that's really going to put a big question mark on what we can do. So we need to think this, like anything, like the only thing we can realistically do is try and sell merch online. But we're not really a massive merch kind of band. We've never sold enough to kind of even come close to sustaining, like paying our salaries or whatever. Obviously, it'd be brilliant one day to just go, oh, we just release a t-shirt every month and I'll pay my mortgage. It doesn't work that way. By the time you split it 5 ways and stuff. But yeah, I'm sure there are bands out there that can survive off merch, and I'm sure that's probably what a lot of them are doing in the meantime. If they got much bigger fan bases than ours, I'm sure that's a nice, easy way to kind of do it. But
if you can, yeah.
Unfortunately, like we're trying to do what we can, but it's not really making a big difference. But even Brexit's affecting that, because it's either you, like with the import charges and stuff, either the customer has to pay more, or we pay more and we pay the tax. I don't really know how it works, but it's definitely made it more complicated and less desirable for the buyer, because basically it just jacks the prices up.
Take the prices up, like you say, mate.
Yeah, so they're less likely to buy it at the end of the day. So I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Just living my life at the moment. I'm trying not to watch the news. I'm trying not to.
No, I tried not to when I didn't really watch. I was never a big wanted to watch news anyway, but I certainly was trying to take this last year take a lot less notice of social media, and
it's a good way. I recommend that to anyone who's listening, who kind of maybe does spend too much time scrolling and getting involved in all these Facebook arguments and stuff. It's going to bring you down. Yeah, it's going to bring you down. It's not going to do your mental health any good. You could spend that time doing much more useful things, or things that are good for your body, or good for your family, good for your own health.
Exactly, good for your mind, good for your soul, and all that. And
and like I've been guilty of it in the past. I've never really been involved in. I don't get too involved in arguments and Facebook commenting. I'm not really into that. But sometimes I read things and I'm like, I just spent 20 minutes reading a big thread about something stupid, politics or whatever. And why have I done that? And like, I can't do anything about it.
No.
Sometimes I like learn. If it's something I'm learning about, I don't mind so much then. But there's just so much stuff out there, you can waste your time. So I just kind of don't really. I try not to do that. I just concentrate on my life, and I try not to think, like we've talked about some of the negative Brexit things, and I try not to talk about that too much. But I thought it is kind of important.
It is important, mate, and it's got to be noted. But like you say, try and focus on the positives, like the podcast and like the band, and just do what we can, I guess.
Definitely, and so try not to get into that. That's all I can say is, and I know people like it's difficult because you don't want to kind of like give people advice. Like I haven't got any qualifications in medical studies or anything like that. But like I've spent a hell of a lot of time like listening to like I guess podcasts, reading books and audio books and like loads of things about like mental health, body, soul and diet and stuff like that. And like I feel like it's really helped me. And I just feel like sometimes if I try and give advice, people just go, what are you on about? You like, and so I just kind of keep quiet, but I feel like I can help these people or at least advise them because they moan about it on social media, like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, there's certain things I have advised and like, I just feel like they just don't take it seriously, but I'm like, I practice this and I actually feel better and I've made my life better and I've made myself a happier person by doing these things.
Yeah.
And there's simple things you can do every day or not do every day. And instead of just being glued to all the misery on the TV and on your phone and eat it like eating
massive.
Yeah.
That.
Your diet is massive. And
well, speaking of the album, mate, at the beginning of the interview, we're going to play Bite My Tongue, which is probably one of my favorites.
Oh, cool. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites. So I'm going to open up the interview with that. But what song from any of your Phil Campbell stuff would you like us to play at the end of the interview?
I would say let's go with the song I mentioned earlier then, Born to Roam. Yeah. So I think it's quite if you've never heard this before, it's quite an accessible way of discovering us. It's got a good melody to it and good. Like I love the groove of that song. It's one of the things I'm kind of proud of.
Yeah.
It's quite unique, the beat that I'm playing. For me, anyway. I'm kind of like doing a two-handed thing on a hi-hat, which is not the kind of thing I've ever done in this band. But I'm like accenting this weird offbeat, and it's just the way it grooves with the guitar. It's cool, and I think this is quite like you hear it and you're like, oh wow! And I can't wait to play it live because I want to see how the crowd react to it, whether they kind of like dance a little bit. But I think it's going to be one of them songs where like it's going to get people kind of like
swearing a bit more.
Yeah, rather than just kind of like moshing. I think it's going to be like
and have a good bounce to it.
I hope it does. Otherwise, I'm completely wrong. But yeah, it's one of the ones I'm proud of, and I think Neil did a good job on the vocals. Todd, my brother, is playing the guitar solo on that, and I think it's a great solo. It's kind of one of those solos that you don't expect.
No.
When I first heard it was obviously after I'd recorded it and everything. I was like, oh, didn't expect that kind of. Because it's like a southern rock sounding song.
Yeah, and the rest of the album, like I say, is quite groovy, it's quite flowing, and then this big southern.
Yeah, which is cool. I like the southern rock. Yeah. And Todd's a really bluesy guitarist. He can play blues and that stuff really well. But he does this kind of like metally kind of like I don't know if it's got like specific modes in it or something like that. But it's a kind of really kind of metally sounding solo. But like the way he's played it and he's executed it. It's really, really good. And I think he's proud of it. But like the first time I heard it, I was like, that doesn't really suit the song. But like, it's kind of really cool because it's different and you don't expect it. Yeah, it's good. But yeah, if you could please play that would be lovely. Thank you.
Certainly will, Dane. Mate, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for your time, dude.
Yeah, no worries. And yeah, sorry we've gone on a bit long.
Hey,
but,
don't worry about it. It's been good to talk to you, mate.
Yeah, it'd been nice to meet. Like, have we ever met before? I don't think we have properly.
Not properly. I think we saw a fleeting hello at Stone Dead. That was probably about it. I mean, I spoke to Tyler and Todd quite a bit at Stone Dead, but no, I don't think I had a chance to chat to you properly.
I was probably setting up my drum kit.
I think you were setting it up.
One of those jobs that the drummers do and the guitarists get away with not doing.
But no, it's been good to talk to you, man. So
yeah, let me know when it's going up and if you want me to share anything, and I'll share it to my limited followers.
Ever growing, mate. That's the word you use. Ever growing.
Yeah, man. Cool.
All right. Cheers, Dave, man. Thanks.
Cheers, man. Cheers.